weather, and see you in a bit. Hello, there is Safi, there is like Cat, so it's two of us over here, and I'm not seeing any of these pretty faces today and pretty voices, so I am going to start on my own. It just feels like reading just the way I does, but kind of like solitary, but it is what it is. So I'm picking up the next one over here, and I'm going to put another one over here, so if anybody shows up they can actually guess it. So where is my little notebook to write down and the timestamps? This is the wrong one and this is the wrong one. Voila, found this. How is everybody? Hopefully everybody's okay. Clearly you're not hearing me because you're not there, but I really hope somebody will show up. I cannot blame people who actually took advantage of this. At least we here have a beautiful weather, just perfectly warm. So anyway, look at that interesting glow around this. So what do we have? We are starting with Taurus. I'm going to write this down in case Barbie shows up, but you know, never know. So Taurus, let's see what June is bringing for you. Put this aside. So it was 3 cards and a gypsy for clarifiers, quote unquote additional information. So let's go for it. Taurus, 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 Taurus. It's really kind of like interesting because we are still going through, or I don't know if Gemini starts today or tomorrow, but I want to wish birthday to both because you're both Caspies. So Taurus, this is really interesting reading. This one wants to come out, and that's the 9 of Sea or 9 of Cups. Lovely. It just shows that you're like just a little, just really indulging yourself. Huh, that's really interesting. Why did we get these two? So it's almost like it's telling me what happens during this period of Taurus and what happens after. So we have here the Fool reversed and we have the World reversed. These 2 cards are extremely important, right? Because literally it should be like this. The World and the Fool shows up, but both of them are reversed. So something is really not happening. You're not taking a chance on some kind of like thing. Both of them are a little bit reckless when we get them. With both of them, we kind of like have to deal with different issues. So it's really interesting. Here it is. It almost like feels like you want to stay where you are because look at this. You have this like 9 of Cups. You're dreaming about all of these beautiful things and you don't want this dream ever to stop, right? It's kind of like I'm not coming back to reality, because when you do come back to the reality, that's where we are getting this kind of like things. So the Fool reversed is really talking about not taking that chance, not making this leap, not trying that new thing, not going in this new direction. It's just like you're like, leave me alone. Just totally everybody leave me alone. I don't want to deal with that. I just don't care about it, etc., etc., etc. So it's kind of like really weird. And the World, to me, it's a little bit more, I don't know, shall I say worrisome? Because the World is like supposed to complete the cycle, right? So when the cycle doesn't complete and it's supposed to go back to that Fool, as I have told you. So when the cycle doesn't complete, right, it just means we keep repeating the stuff that has been kind of like happening all along. So we come here on this planet, we choose this life to play certain role. Just, you know, just check the movie Total Recall. That's pretty much it. You push in the buttons. This is really pre-planned. You planned it. Somebody had to approve it. People did tell you you're putting too much on your plate, but no. You really want to go to it. Hello, Al. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lorna. Hello, Kylie. We are starting with Taurus because that was the only one so far. So I picked a card. So I'm just explaining why we have this World reverse here, right? It's kind of like saying that you want to reach certain kind of like thing, right? So there is a tendency here to laziness, my dear Taurus, that I see over here. So it's almost like you want to take the easiest and quickest path to attain your goal, right? But then it doesn't lead to the outcome kind of a thing. It's just like it's not really happening. So it's almost like, you know, like carrot on the stick, you're never reaching that carrot. It's just kind of like that really feeling. So there is like really kind of like a disappointment, I would say. It's really interesting because usually the time right after our birthdays, we are having a really difficult time because it is like, oh, the celebration is over. Oh, everybody left the house. Oh, nobody's celebrating my birthday. Consciously or subconsciously, this is really happening. So feeling a little bit frustrating, feeling kind of like impatient, which is atypical for you because you're usually very patient, right? So there are like some things that are left unsaid. I also feel that you really have someone in your life. It's really interesting. They're really connected, actually, these 2 cards. Almost like I don't know why they separate them. So it's almost like one is the book, like, you know how you have a book, you have like a cover and you have like a back page, and they kind of like are covered, are connected with the spine part of it. So this is kind of like what these kind of like things are. Everything happens in the middle, but like you usually check these kind of like two things when you kind of like start, right? I have to tell you that some relationships might be coming to an end without explanation. either you or the partner will not be able to make any sense or come to terms why that happened. Because as I said, like, I mean, people are left hanging, things are not being said entirely, and nobody really knows what to expect, and everybody feels they have some reasons to feel the way they are. So let me just grab another card over here, because that's really interesting, what is really happening here. And I want to kind of like really get one card for these two things, because that technically tell it's really interesting, because 9 is suggesting the end of completion. You're like really somewhere where you want to be, and you're getting haughtiness. There is like some kind of like vanity over here. This peacock, I remember once when someone terrorized me, and I kind of like pulled a card from this deck, and this is the card I got, because this card talks about arrogance and conceit and vanity, or even maybe showing off, right? So if you just really think what is like the peacock, it shows it's like beautiful plumage, right, etc. So this is kind of like either describing you or a person that you have in your life who is lacking that humility, and that lack of humility can kind of like damage that person, and kind of like it's somebody who cannot acknowledge their mistakes or even their limitations, and probably you have seen that a lot of that, right? So just be really prepared if you're dealing with Taurus in your life. If you're Taurus, that is going to be some kind of like haughtiness, coldness, or possibly detachment in some kind of like dealings, right? And there's going to be lots of misunderstandings, even hatred. So, that's kind of like really heavy. I'm so sorry that I'm rendering this, because it's really so positive over here that we are like kind of like just falling off the cliff over here. So Taurus, if you need additional advice, just do let me know, contact me, and we'll go from that. So we have like 3 ladies or 4 ladies over here, guys. You can guess the next one. We already finished Taurus. I'm plunging forward over here. Like, we have a beautiful weather. How are you guys doing? What's going on where you are? It's just like not hot. I was like lying down in my hammock in the morning, and I played for myself the sound of the ocean waves on the beach, and like enjoy this like wind that is outside. And it was literally, I almost like even smell the salt water. It was kind of like interesting. So let's see. Let's send out thoughts call to our mods to come and join us for Caturday. Yeah, guys, if you can just send a WhatsApp message, that's great. I usually just let people do whatever they want. This is like what I start having in summer. I break down in just like 2 a month at the most, because people just don't want to be here. For me, this is like a middle of a day. So the next one, guys, I didn't have guesses. So, we do have guesses. Sorry, I misspoke. Over here we have a Leo. And it's going to be Sagittarius. Ekat joined us, but she actually still didn't check her reading that I actually just finished for her yesterday. So it is going to be Sagittarius. Let me put here the stamp. Sagittarius. Okay, Kylie, I'm taking your stuff as well, but unfortunately both of you were so freaking close, because these were really kind of like what you just missed Sagittarius. So what we did last time, we actually did Aries, Kylie. We did Aries, we did Gemini, we did Virgo, we did Libra, we did Capricorn, and we did Pisces. So now we have Cancer, Leo, and Aquarius left, and that's for the next one, and that's the last one that you can guys guess, because then it gets just too easy. So Sagittarius, Kylie, that's you among the others. But since you're here, you're sending us like really, really strong vibes. Ooh, you get the Lovers. Like I love this card. This card doesn't have any angel, anybody else talking to you. This is just like, I mean, pure enjoyment and pure mirroring. It's just like finding somebody with whom you can be fully comfortable no matter what you do, you don't have to be on your quote unquote best behavior. And it's kind of like also a great environment. Like it's a warm shade. Like it's everything from purple to red. Like so the entire spectrum is there. This one wants to come out. And we have Earth Storm. Earth Storm to me, it's always about a helpful friend. And this is like third one just jumped out like that. So Sagittarius, you have air and earth, which kind of like it's really balancing. Your air is on one side, earth is on one side, on the stability of the environment, right? So this really talks about somebody like literally it's going to be a really good period for you. Really interesting because you're like the opposite sign of Gemini, right? Which means to me it's almost like the same. Like it's the same kind of like axis, right? So sure, like yeah, it could be a little bit differences because kind of like sun rises on one, like I mean sun sets on the another one. But nonetheless, like if Gemini is doing well, you are doing well as well. So just all signs have their kind of like shade. So this is why we get attracted to people of the opposite sign because they kind of like show this like dark side, and that's kind of like showing a little bit of a mystery over here. So this is clearly talking about this like Gemini transition that we are talking about. Seek new friends. Like look at it, like a jumping over a ditch. Like I'm not letting. This is like a river. It could be a little bit river. The little kitten got scared, and then you have like this fabulous Ace of Earth, my favorite ace, because this one talks about putting seed and putting seed not on some kind of like I don't know seasonal flower, but putting seed on the oak tree that is there to stay forever and make a point, and somebody putting their imprint on it, and it's something that people talk a generation after generation after generation. It is really happening, right? So this is like also where we see a little bit of Taurus that you're saying, Kylie. Jupiter in Taurus, and Jupiter, where is Jupiter right now? Good question. Yeah, I think it is in Taurus, which means like it's well-being for all of us, even though it's really not happening yet with all this like recession that is like looming everywhere. I don't know where you guys are, but food in Canada, it's like so ridiculously expensive. They're like telling us, like really, they're gaslighting us. Oh, I just went out, like I mean, 10%. But then you're looking, the same thing that you bought last year for $5 is now 20. That's not 10% by any kind of like thing. All right, so let me just draw one more card over here, Sagittarius. I'm getting a Scholar. So Scholar is also kind of like quote unquote slower moving cards as the Pentacles. So there's like a world and there is like a life ahead of you that you want to build, that you want to kind of like do certain things, right? Scholar is somebody who is really making sure that you do it. Like, usually to me, Scholar is somebody who makes the path the shortest, right? Because generally when we don't know how to do stuff, we try different things, right? But Scholar is the one who, I learned that. This is how I do it. That's how I say it, right? So it's some kind of expert. Or could be a counselor of some sort. It's a guidance and wisdom that is kind of like buried in this card, right? So if you guys have any crisis, you're going to have somebody to lean on. You're going to be dealing with that. It's going to be somebody who will be there to restore harmony, right? Keep in mind this is a person of culture, of knowledge, and of some kind of like status in a society, but also somebody you can trust. So it's really good that, sometimes you feel, oh yeah, this person does all of that, but is this person really good fit for me? In this case, it looks like it is. It's a kind of calm and sensitive person, but who is also serious and who understands the value of letting you have your space, and etc., right? So it's more like inner than outer strength, so keep this in mind. So it's really interesting because I see the lovers, and lovers are connecting with Scholar as well. It's kind of like the principle of using logic versus like a muscle power to make your point. So going forward, my dear Sagittarians, try to use this period to plant new seeds, to kind of like see long term where you want to go. So we are talking long term 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years from now, like where would you want to be if 40 years is, let's say, time for your retirement? What kind of retirement you want to have and what you need to do? So the time for planning is right now, because that's kind of like what is coming through, and that is what is really, really happening. So really, I see Barbie's cleaning the mess. Oh, house and dog sitting. I wish that, like, Barbie, you should come here when I will need dog sitting, so you can run Caturday show. I'm trying to find somebody who can do that, because I kind of like need to take some time off. Possibly not that soon, but within a year, at least a month or two off. So kind of like a sabbatical of some sort. And I was thinking of south of France or Italy, as I shared with my mods already. So let me see which one is the next over here. Any guesses? Any guesses, ladies? There's just like few of us. There's like not much competition if you guess. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to start opening this. Dog sitting, like you have to walk the dog. It's not really easy, right? You're not in your house, you're in somebody else's houses, but just depends on the host how nice they can actually make it for you. So we have a Leo, Kylie. So we have Cancer, Leo, Aquarius. Cancer, Leo, Aquarius, guys. That's it. Cancer, Leo, Aquarius. So no, we don't have Gemini. Hello, Andy. Cancer, Leo, Aquarius is left. That's it. There's going to be somebody here. Lorna, Cancer, Barbie. We did Aries last time. So what we did last time was Aries, Gemini, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces. Let me see. Must be a bird. No, it's a person walking. How dare, like, he's like thinking even that the street is our territory. Who was that? Tell me, who was that? Who was that? Who was that? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. He comes and tells me, alarms me, kind of like, let's mommy do that. So let's see, fellow Aquarians, what's going on? So who guessed it here? Barbie guessed it. Is it? Okay, Barbie. Aquarians. Aquarius is like Aquarian. This one already jumped out. So we have this Eight of Cups reversed. We are returning back to some points. Like there's like something unfinished. Something that we kind of like put it on a back burner because we either didn't want to, we were too tired to deal with that, or we just like simply have to, kind of like something is knocking on our door. So there it is. So look at that. But actually that's not bad, like when I really think about it. You know how some readers like hate using the inverse cards, but look at what is happening in this case. So what would be what is basically going on? We have the Eight of Cups. We have Six of, and this is like both of them are coming back to something, revisiting. I'm tired of fighting. Like he's leaving the fight, you're going right back into the fight. And this was like something that caused sadness and embarrassment, and you're addressing that. So they're like all small potatoes, if you wish, because none of them is a major arcana, right? So this is kind of like what it is. So that's it, kind of like what is really happening over here, Aquarius. Like it's going to be something that important. It could be something at work that you have to come and reassess. It could be something at home, but like it's emotional, and it's also something that requires possibly writing or talking about it, because swords are connecting to kind of like to these skills. And it could be kind of like something embarrassing, something that is really happening, maybe items that you haven't been proud about, of dealing with that. So it's kind of like, to me, very interesting, because both of them are returning back. In Eight of Cups upright, like we are like looking to see what is the best for us. How can we benefit of the situation, even when in a situation everything is nice and cozy? We are still exploring it. But when this reverses, we probably came back from exploring something and knowing how it is on the other side, and kind of like really kind of like a going back right in the fry. The same thing is here, like it's even more so because they're like swords. With swords, it's like heavy, it's freaking fighting. It's like not internal kind of like struggle. It's kind of like, let's go out. But look at him, he's just leaving it. He just has enough of it. So you're going back clearly to fight and fend for yourself. And it is something that, look at this emotional thing over here. I want to see what happens here. And we're also getting a scholar, which is really connected. I want to get one more because it's really not adding much to it. So it's something to deal with business. It's a journey over here. Like it's a lots of motion. Aquarians, you're going to be in motion, whether this is like exactly physical traveling or a motion of a mind, which kind of like for Aquarians is really simple. And I think Aquarius got activated this year after many years of complete deactivation or in latent kind of like situation. And that is like kind of like now, and it's for everybody, because now we have Pluto in Aquarius, everybody's getting activated. Aquarians just a little bit more because we already crazy planet and now put crazy on crazy drugs. What can go wrong with that, right? So kind of like what is really happening is like that you're like just not taking it. You're like not going in any direction other than your own kind of like all kind of like drumbeat. That's all there is. So there is like some kind of evolution that will be happening. It's really interesting because it's sister sign, but in the sister sign, because I guess we can express ourselves properly, you are doing that in a very kind of like effective way, right? I would really say that there's like something, you are even considering relocation if you're not really traveling or something. Maybe this is like my talking about moving to south of France. I completely have Leon in my mind because I kind of like I like to move, but not exactly to countryside. So it is a positive change overall, I really have to say, in spite of them, how it looks like. There's like something being put down on the table and it's kind of like over with. Like, you know, that kind of like adage, kind of like the truth will set you free. Something like that. You spoke your truth and you put it over there, right? I don't know, it could be saying goodbye to somebody and going away. Or you did say goodbye to somebody and something really felt strange, right? If I had a letter, but I do have a scholar, I don't have a necessary letter, but I have a scholar, it can represent travel documents or passports, and that's what I'm telling you, that's where I'm kind of connecting it. That also kind of like goes back to early April or end of March, something that has been happening in that situation that is now being addressed. So kind of like keep that in mind as well, my dear Aquarius. But anyway, you are like taking the gloves off and punching this particular month for maybe somebody who did something to you, because that's how it looks. All right, no more guesses. We are now on the last three. So I am taking this one, and this one will be next, and this one will be last. So this one is Leo. Leo is let's see, Leos. As I said, for Sagittarius, like Leo and Aquarius, we just finished Aquarius. You guys should always check your sun sign. Like some astrologers really believe that ascendant is more important. That's because it resides in the first house and everything goes around it. Many people don't know their ascendants because they don't know the time, but the ascendants can be determined. It's a little bit tricky. You kind of like, I look at the significant events in life and then I kind of backtrack and look at it and cross references. It can take hours, but it can be done, right? And also moon sign, because it shows your emotions. In my opinion, also check the opposite sign, because it's like a teeter-totter. It's on the same axis. So it's very important to look into that. So Leo, we have 10 of fire. Like they had it last time. Like there's like something about it. It's just like jumping at me. And this one wanted to come out. And this one is like Four of Sky. So Ten of Fire is like in the regular deck. Ten of Wands is this dude who is holding a whole bunch of like these wands in front of him. They're like really heavy, and he's just trying to hold them and embrace them, but she's really not doing well. It's kind of like difficult, right? So what is basically happening that in the end he's going to trip, he's going to drop them, so he can maybe just lose them, or but he's just either too lazy or too sure in himself to continue. And they're also talking about secrets, because it kind of like blinds your, that's not what I call them, blinds your kind of like eye, just like Aquarians. Looks like you have some issues to visit at this stage, right? Because this is like about some kind of secrets, and the secrets are coming out and are about to be revealed. And it's really interesting because they're like something that you are aware, something that you kind of like maybe at some point did ask yourself, but kind of like neglected. It's also followed with the Four of Sky, so Four of Swords, and also with a Four of Cups. So you have like these fours, which is like lack of control over the situation, right? Because fours are about stability and control. So somebody's pulling the rug under your feet over here and kind of like pushing in a completely different direction, right? So altogether is also 18, and it can deal with some kind of like jealousy, or some kind of like perception. It could also have religious tones or subtones and all of that. So Four of Swords reverse really talks about feeling like unrest, feeling that somebody is pricking you all the time, or it could be the person that you need to address. And Four of Cups is basically talking about feeling unconnected, like it's somebody who you felt connection with, now you feel unplugged, unconnected, right? And you really don't know, like there is like no valid reason for you to feel this way, so you're kind of questioning why there is a sudden change in the situation. Hello Jennifer, how are you? And this one wants to come out, and this one is actually you if you're a woman, sweetheart. It came reversed, so it is just, it's really interesting card, right? Of course she's not having a portable phone over here, a mobile phone, but she's looking at this letter, which to me does look like a phone, and it's really the red here suggests love. Look at this rose bush and everything. So she is like really, and like there's like another letter or an envelope over here. So she came here like possibly waiting for somebody, and is really attempting to kind of like read this, which is creating her a great pleasure. Is she waiting for somebody possibly over here? Because clearly, you know, how she positioned herself could indicate that, right? So what is really interesting to me is like the colors, right? So we have like this yellow, which shows the energy, and we have this red that actually really talks about love. She's not called woman, she's actually called sweetheart over here. I just double checked over here because not all decks are having the same kind of like explanation. So when this card reverses, it's really talking about unrequited love, for example, possibly feeling a loss of some sort, right? Or you want somebody to, let's say, return, or you're like actually realizing that there is a time to move on of some sort. Like this is sort of like a broken, shattered place, and this is like, look at him, like all these lobsters over here, and he's like, nah, not today. Like, did you ever have a beautiful day outside and you were supposed to be out all day long, and instead you just stayed in and ate popcorn and watched television, and then you felt, oh my gosh, what the hell am I doing? I was like supposed to do something else. It is like really kind of like really weird that way. So just keep this in mind, because that can also talk about a rival, a person who is maybe not, this might not be you. This could be somebody who was not in the picture, and now somehow it's kind of like reappearing. But it also can talk about the chance for recovery after, like, let's say, an affair, right? That could mean So it is a little bit of a complicated time. So she signifies the Queen of Hearts. So this is like a typical kind of like card. So Queen of Hearts is like connected to the February 14th, Valentine's Day over here. So you need to look back, my dear Leo, what has happened during that period of time. As I said, the underlying tone is the moon because everything adds to 18. And also, if we break down the numbers 1 and 8, 8 belongs to you, to that infinity. So there are some kind of learning lessons, but also indication that you need to kind of like start kind of like looking for the new path and looking for the new direction, which is very, very important. So that was you, my dear Leo. So let me catch up with you guys. Jennifer, Scare with the sun. Is he feeling better? I really hope he is. Jenny, what happened? What went wrong? Like, it was a weird week, I will really admit it. I was like almost like in some kind of haze, like in my thoughts, like just practicing mindfulness almost the entire week over here. So the next one I said is going to be this one over here. And that's Virgo. Oh, oops. Virgo? Did we not do Virgo? Or did I? Oh, I put the for Libra in the wrong spot. Okay, so this is going to be Virgo. Pardon, Virgos. I kind of like didn't see it on my list that you're missing, but anyway, let's try this. Virgo. Virgo. These two want to come out. So there's like the floating cat, and there is like the King of Swords coming right through. Let's grab one more card, my dear Virgos. And that is you. That is the Earth Queen. So you also have a little bit of the upside down month if you wish. So I really feel, let me grab one more card here so I can immediately look into the entire kind of like a picture. And this is coming like this color keeps coming through, guys. So it's possibly across the board. The message is, hey, you know what? Like, I mean, measure twice before you cut it, because we might be guilty of hasty decisions, and that's really what Sky King Reverse does. None of this card is really great. Like, since you have a major arcana and you have a face, it's going to ask a little bit of more self-control in order to deal it. Same like as Taurus, when you go to the next sign from Taurus, which is Gemini, right? Like, you're like the sister of Taurus, so sister sign, so hence you're affected a little bit with the transition. And generally the air transition is not the easiest for earth signs, especially if you don't have much air in your chart. So the floating cat, the hangman reverse. So what is really happening in this situation? So there is like this dude who said, you know what? Okay, I admit I'm not the smartest. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to do it. I am willing to learn. But then he reverses. So is he really learning? Because he's not hanged anymore. He can just jump off anytime that he wants, right? It's kind of like the feeling when you're guys feeling that you're sacrificing a great deal and getting nothing in return. So it's kind of like, hey, this doesn't really work for me, you know? So things are kind of like reaching some kind of standstill, and there's like no movement or there's no resolution. So this is kind of like being suspended in time and in place, right? And it's really, really bothering you. However, that period of suspension is basically acting like a catalyst. So what is to come? So whether you're putting off or making some kind of decision or trying to sort something out, because you might be dealing with somebody who is obnoxious. King of Sky, King of Swords, reversed. Oh boy, he's just like waving that sword everywhere, and like that sword is cutting everybody left and right. Not fun at all, right? So it's kind of like a hole that somebody is poking you while you are like not ready. Maybe you don't have all this information, you don't want to make a decision, but somebody is really, really poking you, which in turn renders you angry. Like the Queen of Pentacles also, she's saying, you know what, I don't care how much that's going to cost me, I'll show you, kind of a thing. So instead, try to instead accept your circumstances and be at peace with yourself, because that's literally how you pacify this entire situation. This is kind of like really showing really clearly, because like everybody here is acting arrogantly, and how is this going to really help, you know, with significant with damaging significant others and significant people in your life, right? And scholar also means reverse, like you are not getting a good advice over here. There is somebody who is like, and that's really to me this like King of Swords, because that's the person you really want to go to, right? So it's a lack of compassion, it's like a lack of preparation, or, you know, like not turning every stone kind of a thing, right? So be very careful. This month you're going to be faced with lots of rude or illogical or I don't know, uncivilized individuals, or arrogant, like all the way, right? So instead, kind of like as I said, like you have to pull it in, because there's going to be something with this that is going to culminate around your birthday, or just slightly after your transition, because after all we are going into Gemini. There's something that is culminating and you're like being tested right now. So that this I think is going to be a low point of a year. So just buckle up, and as I said, gentleness and kindness is going to be the way out. So that is really, really important, right? To kind of really look at it. So let's see. All right, so who is last? Cancer is last, isn't it? So Jenny, it says no energy, pale, no appetite, severely low hemoglobin. Oh my gosh, he had a blood transfusion. Is he not eating enough iron? It's kind of like, sounds to me, he's not the meat eater kind of a thing. So the last one is Cancer. So let me put all of these little kind of like signs back, so we have them for the next time. And voila, Cancer. Boy, I'm like doing that really quickly today. Am I just like speaking really fast? I don't know. Usually I'm trying to do this like this fast, but I am not doing it. Needs to be 10 to 12. He was 5. So I really hope let's all send Jennifer some really positive energy, and so she can have enough energy to transfer it onto her kiddo. That really sucks. Okay, so Cancer, you got a reading. Of course, as they say in German, sugar comes last, and you got a whole bundle of cards. So you're getting a Fire Tome reversed. So that will be the Knight of Fire, Knight of Wands, and then you have the Ace of Earth reversed. You have the Major Arcana Moon. You have a Nine of Cups reversed, but then you have the Ace of Fire, which is you. So the Major Arcana is the only card that is really connecting with you, and in astrology you're connected with Moon, but not in tarot, right? This will be the card that belongs to Pisces. It's also full moon, and I really think this is really talking about this like Scorpio full moon that we just like went through it, and it's kind of like following moon that is going to be very difficult. You Cancers, you're really just like Aquarians. We Aquarians are affected with crazy people, and we are attracted to anybody who looks crazy. You're attracted with every emotional problem you can kind of like attract. So anybody has a problem, they come to you, kind of a thing. You know, you have 2 aces and the 9. So something is really suggesting this is a 9. You have a 9, 9, 1, 1. So there is like a turn over happening, but almost like it's very Cancerian. You don't want to do it, you don't want to be pushed in the situation, you're dragging your feet, like both of this, like this is like in and out, not committing yourself, not trying to build something long term. You keep saying no, 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 I don't want it, I don't want it. But then you find a situation that, like, I mean, you wrote in your chart, like, you look at it any way that you want, that you have to go through that unknown. And this is like, for you, it's just almost like a nightmare, right? And this is like literally nightmare. 9 of Cups reversed is like you're feeling like somebody's like brutally waking you up from the sleep. It's not correct. But after all, You're represented in tarot with Chariot, and Chariot is fast, Chariot knows what he's doing, and you're saying, okay, you poked me, you play with me, I'm up. I'm up. Where are we going? And like you're buckling yourself up, you're going in this direction. Ace of Fire is talking about reassessing something from the past. It's kind of weird. Like today's reading was like for all these signs was really talking a little bit about that Mercury retrograde that we just finished and saying that something that maybe you didn't deal with, now it is a time to address and to move forward. So we can go from there. So Ace of Fire, Ace of Fire, you're getting how is this pronounced? Consolation, but it's reversed. So, consolation. So he's sitting there enjoying his morning read of the newspaper, watching the ships pass by, and the angel comes by. So, you want money, dude? You want a power? So now this is kind of like really reversing, right? So he's like saying like, look, I can do it on my own, right? I just don't need any of this help. And why is this really happening? What did I do so so phenomenally well that like right now I'm being kind of like rewarded, right? So this reverses when we are missing an opportunity. So you are going clearly, because I did actually draw it on this card and merging with this one. It was like something that was missed. It could be a person, could be somebody that you wanted to build a long-term relationship, but it didn't happen. It's something that's connecting you to past lives. This is like kind of like a soulmate-y flavor that I'm seeing here, that I'm feeling here, right? It's kind of like the obstacle in that. It's facing a challenge, right? It's telling you that you need to hold on to your dreams, guys, right? You know, it's the failure to reach that consolation, I guess, literally, right? But that's because of some kind of external forces or what other people did, right? So it could be some kind of disappointment, but like you are doing something about it. You're like almost like unstoppable. Ace of Fire is a very positive omen, and it's really very positive when we are dealing and addressing stuff that have happened in the past. So from that kind of like point on, you can kind of deal with that the way that you should be dealing with that, right? And going forward. So do not get very scared this month, because you might feel that your emotional life is a little bit disturbed. You might feel that you're having trouble sleeping. It's going to be whether insomnia, like really, really clearly. And you're going to like names and places will be jumping before your face until you start putting all of these puzzles together, and finally you're going to kind of like start putting it in motion, because something is going to remind you that you are worth more, you deserve more, and that, you know, like whatever happened was not what you deserve. So there you go from there. Anemia. My mom had anemia for a while, and I know that she kind of like became a big meat eater as a result. Is he like, and I think she had to take B12, but I really hope it's something else, something even smaller, that he doesn't have to monitor for the rest of his life, that he can just go ahead and do his stuff. So let me see, Barbie, you're the only one. Oh, Barbie, still didn't send you your reading. My apologies. So it's coming. Didn't forget it. So, Barbie, you're having a 5 of Cups. My dear, are you being a little bit sad over here? Because look, in this particular case, she is the one spilling the cup. She still actually has one, not two like in the regular ones. But it almost looks like that hole open in the earth, and it's just, or canal or something, and it's just like going. It's kind of like talking about the wasted opportunities or sadness, or thinking about somebody kind of like coming to your thoughts. You're kind of being emotionally triggered, right? And you are like Libra. So when we air signs get emotionally triggered, it's really hard to get out of that hole, because we are not able by nature to kind of like dwell in that, right? So just like the water signs would feel like I'm locking air, like because it's just kind of like different environment. So I really hope, this doesn't kind of like put you aside. The whole kind of like advice with this card is like, look, you need to start looking forward. You need to start looking what is working. So that's why this particular cup that she has here has the entire universe in there, because look at all these colors. So there's like something going on that is really happy, and you need to find what it is and focus on that. That's kind of like where we are going. And that's it, guys. I'm a little bit ahead of time today, so we are going to do lastly the doors. And so ask yourself a question so we can finish with the doors. And I'm going to just cut it, and I'm going to just check the bottom card for the doors. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Let me just put that here. So you guys make your choice, you make your questions, so I can kind of like start with this. And let's start. This is the door number 1. And the question that you have asked, you're getting the Empress, but she's reversed. So she is not able to deliver, literally, as we can see it. Look at it. The earth connected to the moon and this entire universe. So this is a no. And that also that shows pregnancy. It means it's not absolute no, it's a no, which means it can happen, but it can take time to get there. And the conditions have to be there, right? Things can happen in the meantime, so just keep this in mind, right? So the number 2 is the Hermit. The Hermit, I don't know, if you ask something for a relationship, this is not a time. This is a time where you need to get to know yourself better. And the reason when this happens, when you ask for a relationship, this is giving you the opposite answer, is saying, you know what, yeah, you might get this relationship. This is a positive card. So if you want to get it, you can get it. But it's telling you for your own sake that you should try to keep to yourself, to understand yourself better, because it is putting the wedge between you and that relationship. Maybe you need to understand better what you need to bring and what you need to get out of it in order for not to kind of like create a whole bunch of issues around, right? So kind of like get to know yourself, right? And let's see, the 8 of Wands, number 3 is like a big yes, yes, yes. And it's also something that is going to happen really, really quickly. So it's the energy that is moving forward. It's like, big bang. It's kind of like a solution. It is like something that it's going to be very joyful. So it's also sometimes like about travel, and it is sometimes about love. So if this is like something that you have asked, well, then good for you. Number 2, it is over in July. Okay. Is that for the number 2 doors? I hope that kind of like certain things will finally kind of like have an end. So you are all, guys, welcome. I just can't believe it. I did 6 signs and doors in under an hour, but we are going to have a nice, beautiful, sunny day here. I'm going to look forward to using it. And when will I see you next? So, oh, you're welcome, Kylie. So that is going to be, let me see. It looks like 3rd. It looks like 3rd. Yeah, it looks like 3rd. So going to touch base with you on the 3rd of June. Is it? Yeah, 3rd of June. And we have like Victoria Day here in Canada. And Victoria Day is on Monday. So it's a celebration of Queen Victoria, who used to use, which drugs did she use? She used cocaine, I believe. Of course, they're trying to hush this, but it was not done for the drug's sake, but it was done for some kind of like pains that she had. She was like a really cool lady, but I really hope that we have a little bit less royalty in Canada than we have right now, as we discussed it on a group. So I wish everybody a beautiful weekend. For us in Canada, long weekend. And until the 3rd of June, I wish you all the well. And then we are going to have some fun day. I don't know what to do, guys. You really didn't enjoy my Canadiana test last night. So I will try to think of something. If you have any ideas, please send me an email, or you can suggest to me in a group. It's kind of hard to be interactive because you are lagging behind me, and that's kind of like eliminates most of the stuff. But that's why I kind of like stuck with a quiz. But let's see what we can do. If nothing else, I'm just going to do mini reading for each one of you and go with that. So wish you all the best, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Until the next time, I love you very much. All the best.